ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यनमोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of the group members who have joined and who are about to join and who will see the recording later on. Mataji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 2, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is called the Scheduled Incarnations, and the text for today is text 52, Mataji. So over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving your time to us.
Thank you, as always, for giving me this opportunity. And Hare Krishna to everybody. So, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations, Text 52. Yatha haro bhagavate nrinam bhaktir bhavishyate sarvatmani akhiladhare iti sankalpya varnaya. Translation: Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being, and the summum bonum, source of all energies. Should I read the purport, or somebody else would like to read the purport?
Are there any volunteers to read the purport? If there are no volunteers, Mataji, would you like me to read the purport?
Yes,
Oh.
sure.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam is the philosophy of devotional service and the scientific presentation of man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prior to the age of Kali, there was no need for such a book of knowledge to know the Lord and his potential energies. But with the beginning of the age of Kali, human society gradually became influenced by four sinful principles, namely illegitimate connection with women, intoxication, gambling, and unnecessary killing of animals. Because of these, basic sinful acts, man gradually became forgetful of his eternal relationship with God. Therefore, man became blind so as to speak to his ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is not to pass a life of irresponsibility like the animals and indulge in a polished way in four animal principles, namely eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. For such a blind human society in the darkness of ignorance, Srimad Bhagavatam is a torchlight to see things in proper perspective. Therefore, it was necessary to describe the science of God from the very beginning, or from the very birth of the phenomenal world. As we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam.
I'm not sure what's happened, so I'll continue reading. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Mataji, we can.
Okay, just 1 second. So continue reading. Give me a minute. So, as we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to. Is that where we were? The last paragraph? Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji.
Sorry. So,
I
okay,
had a phone call coming, so
okay.
I got disconnected. As we already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to understand the science of God simply by reading it with attention or simply by regularly hearing it from the bona fide speaker. Everyone is hankering after happiness in life, but in this age, the members of the human society, blind as they are, do not have the proper vision that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all happiness because he is the ultimate source of everything. Janmadhyaya Ashya Yatha. Happiness is complete perfection without hindrance, can be achieved only by the devotional relationship with him. And it is only by his association that we can free from distressful material existence. Even those who are after the enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of the great science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they will be successful at the end. Narada is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master to present this science with determination and in good plan. Narada was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. He was ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously in the missionary spirit.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, Hare Krishna once again. And thank you for making your time to be here in this class. And I'm always very grateful to get this opportunity. So, in the translation, Srila Prabhupada uses the word samam bonam. So, and in the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada clearly distinguishes between God and the absolute truth. The absolute truth, samam bonam. And he explains that God is, the description of God is like a controller, a main controller. However, the absolute truth, or the samam bonam, is the ultimate source of all energies, material and spiritual. The absolute truth is one without a second. He's supremely independent, and he doesn't derive his power from anywhere else. So he is the source of all energies. all the power, all power, all strength comes from him. So Srila Prabhupada makes a very clear distinction between God and the absolute truth. Absolute truth is all encompassing. And also the absolute truth, or the summum bonum, knows everything directly and indirectly, because it's all his energy, material or spiritual. Everything is his energy. And for a devotee, once a devotee understands, or even some theoretical understanding of this, we can of course never fully understand the extent of this absolute truth. But when a devotee can at least even theoretically understand that everything first of all is energy, and then that every energy, material or spiritual, is Krishna. Krishna is the source of all these energies. Then actually it really helps a devotee, because then we really have nothing to worry about, because everything then that is happening in our lives is Krishna's will. No matter how testing, no matter how many obstacles we may be facing, every test, every obstacle just becomes an opportunity for a devotee to become more sincere, to go deeper, because everything is Krishna. It says not even a blade of grass moves without the will of Krishna. It's a very difficult concept to grasp, and it has taken, not that I have fully grasped, but it has taken me many, many years to actually surrender to the fact that everything that is happening in my life, Krishna has a hand to play in it. Because we always doubt. We always doubt. But if we can grasp this perspective, can everybody hear me? Because I think we've lost Kirtika Mataji again. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Mataji, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So once we can grasp this perspective that everything that's happening in our lives, in our individual lives, is but the will of Krishna, then really there's actually nothing to worry about. We do what we have to do, and we leave the results up to Krishna. And a very nice example is given is, a person carrying a very heavy load and walking, and someone stops with a cart and says, oh, you can get onto the cart. And the person gets onto the cart, but still carrying the load, but there's actually no need to carry the load anymore. The person can actually put the load down on the cart, and the cart will carry the load. So this is exactly our lives. Once we become Krishna conscious, we have such an amazing opportunity to let go of so many things, and just let it be, and let Krishna take control. If we can take the load off our heads, off our shoulders, and put it down. And if we can manage to do that, then life becomes actually very simple, very joyful. Now, just going back to the history of Srimad Bhagavatam, we know that in the beginning of Kali Yuga, Srila Vyasadeva decided to put it down in writing. And Srila Prabhupada says that in the purport, that prior to the beginning of Kali Yuga, there was no need to, because people were Shrutidhar. They just needed to hear things once, and they would completely be able to retain it. Their memories were so strong. But at the beginning of Kali Yuga, Srila Vyasadeva saw that in Kali Yuga, this is not going to be possible. So he took the Veda, there was only one Veda, and he divided it into 4, Rig, Sama, Atharva, and Yajur. And then he assigned his disciples to take charge of Rig, another disciple, or some other disciples, Sama, Atharva, and expound on it. And so there's a verse which describes our situation in Kali Yuga, which is Srimad Bhagavatam 1:110. Prayena Palyusha Sabhya Kalav Asmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hi Upadruta. All in it one. In this iron age of Kali, men almost always have but short lives. They're quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. So this is our situation in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, we're supposed to be living 100 years. Who does that anymore? And even if you make it to 100 years, we're practically dysfunctional. Can barely move, can barely digest, can barely remember. So then, like, what's the point? There's no question of spiritual progress in such a situation. We're always disturbed. Arguments starting over the smallest of things in families and in businesses, between countries, but everywhere we see this, I feel the situation is so tense. Everybody is so stressed and anxious and so bothered, so overstimulated. You just have to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and there's this argument. This is just the beginning of Kali Yuga. Gudakesh Prabhu once said that right now Kali is not even crawling, so it's like, imagine what will happen when Kali will start crawling. No, then when he starts walking, and then when he starts running. So, but we can see the situation is already quite disturbing. There's hardly any country which is at peace. So in Kali Yuga, we have hardly any resilience, any power of tolerance, hardly any ability to just let things go. We hold on to little minute things. We're lazy spiritually, and even if we're inclined, a lot of us will end up in the wrong institution with the wrong teachings. And then whatever little time we have now, of course, we have our phones, we have social media, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, so even the little time, even the little focus that we had has really been taken away by this technology, by this social media. Our attention span has reduced drastically. So this is our situation in Kali Yuga. So, Vyasadeva knew that this is in Kali, this would have to be written down, the Vedas, and broken down and expounded upon. And so he did all this major work, and then he also did the Mahabharata. And then he concluded it all into the Vedanta Sutra. And after doing this mammoth task, he was still feeling very dissatisfied. So then Narad Muni came, and he told him the reason why he was feeling very dissatisfied, because despite of doing this huge work, he had not described the glories of Krishna. And so after that, Srila Vyasadeva compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was principally Krishna, pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. And then the conclusion is very clear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hence, Srimad Bhagavatam is known as the cream, the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. Because also he did it at a very mature time in his spirituality, having gone through this whole compilation, which took a long time. So he was spiritually very mature when he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so and then Srila Prabhupada also mentions that Srimad Bhagavatam is a scientific representation. So a lot of the times people have this misunderstanding that religion, spirituality is just is a sentimental, you know. Their argument is always like, oh, who has written down the Vedas? Where have they come from? But Srila Prabhupada has always called it a science, a scientific representation. Now, what does it mean? Kritika Mataji, you're from the medical profession. So science means something that can be proved. It's not sentimental. It's not mythology. It's definitely not a kind of traditional ritual that we do, you know. It is science. So the definition of science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world. And it goes on and on and on. But science is a systematic process that when applied will give certain results. So what is this systematic process? The process Srila Prabhupada has given us, sadhana bhakti, and specific details. Now, if we apply this process, in time we will see the results. The results will be evident. We will experience that we're improving as human beings. We will be happier. We will feel the connection with Krishna. We will feel the connection with the spiritual masses. We will feel the connection with the scriptures. Hence, Srila Prabhupada calls it a science. So this is something good. It's a very good point to have at the back of our minds, especially when we're preaching to the educated class, that Krishna consciousness is not just some sentimental thing that somebody just started somewhere. No, it's a science. It's a process that will, if followed properly, will yield definite results. And then Srila Prabhupada very briefly touches on Sambandha. He establishes man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is this relationship? What is our relation? What is Sambandha? Our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, one, we're eternal, and Krishna is eternal, and two, that we are servants. We're his eternal servants, and we shall always remain so. Right now, we're his eternal servants. Even when we perfect this life and hopefully make it back to Godhead, we will always remain his eternal servants. We are all individuals. We will retain our individuality in the spiritual world, and even in the spiritual world, we will be serving Krishna. So, so then he explains how in Kali Yuga, the living entities, because they started breaking the four regulative principles, eating meat, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, we became forgetful of this sambandha, this relationship with Krishna. And so it just sheds light on actually how important it is to follow the four regulative principles. If we are breaking these principles, it can't go hand in hand. And spirituality and breaking the four regulative principles cannot go hand in hand, because you're acting in such a way as to forget your relationship with Krishna, and then you're trying to be spiritual. It actually doesn't work. So these four principles, we should never take them lightly. We should never be casual about it. Shivaram Maharaj once mentioned, we have, as living entities, we like testing our boundaries. Said the word he uses, like, we like flirting with the regulative principles. We are trying to see how we can push the boundaries, where we like gray areas, we like a little bit. So, but we should be very careful. It's just a clear cut. We follow these four regulative principles. Initially, it might be challenging, or one of them may be challenging, or two of them may be challenging, and that happens. For many people, it may take a number of years, but just never give up. Never give up hope. Just keep going. Just keep going. And it becomes very easy to follow these four regulator principles when we keep ourselves in the association of the devotees, and we keep ourselves alive in the Sankirtan mission. These two things are very important. If we're not regularly associating with devotees, and if we're one way or another not keeping ourselves alive, one way or another in the Sankirtan mission, i.e. service, i.e. preaching, i.e. just serving the devotees, then it becomes very, very difficult to follow these four regulator principles, because if we're not going to be associating with devotees, we'll be associating with non-devotees, then we will struggle, because we will be going against the grains of the sand. For people outside, hearing of these four regulator principles, especially these days, is like, what? Then what do you do? What do you do in your life if you abstain from all these things, That way, you don't eat meat? Where do you get your protein from? All this, like, do you see elephants in need of any protein? They're completely vegetarian, but it's completely unfathomable, Like, why? Why so many rules and regulations? Why? Life is short, bro. Enjoy life. You just have this one life, So the point is that if you're not going to be associating with devotees, you'll get, this is the energy out there. Enjoy. You only have this one life, And it's so easy to kind of like gradually fall into that kind of mentality or that kind of energy, depending on association. So very important to take this not casually, to kind of like be sincere about it. And if there is some flaw, if there's some difficulty we're going through, then prayer helps a lot. Keep praying. And if within the organization you have one person or people that you can talk to in confidence and get some advice, get some guidance, then that helps a lot. Srila Prabhupada goes on to mention that Srimad Bhagavatam is like a torch that gives us the highest perspective of how to live this life and how to find eternal happiness. Each and every one of us in this material world, we're all searching for happiness, because the soul by nature is full of bliss, ananda. We're anandamaya bhyasat, means we by nature we're blissful, and by nature the soul is always looking for happiness. This is the nature of the soul. What is the nature of salt? It's salty. What is the nature of sugar? It's sweet. You can never separate the two. If a compound is not sweet, then it's not sugar. If a compound is not salty, then it's not salt. So in the same way, the nature of the soul is to be always happy, always joyful, and to look for joy. And this is why we, as living entities, as spirit souls, are always looking for happiness. And Srila Prabhupada says that this Srimad Bhagavatam will fulfill this need of happiness. The modern day education is a very corrupt system, because the modern day education sold us the illusion of happiness. We were told if we worked really hard at school, when we grew up, will have a good career or will get a good job. Really, where are the jobs today? Highly qualified people are struggling to look for a job, and even if they have a job, there's hardly any job satisfaction. We were told if we work hard, we get a good education, we'll earn lots of money and we'll be happy. Really, when is it enough? When is earning money enough? It actually never is enough. One time when Bill Gates was the richest person, or one of the richest person, they actually interviewed him and they asked him, what's your philosophy? And Bill Gates said, my philosophy is more. I want more. So if the richest man in the world, what can he not afford? He can afford anything he wants. But if the richest man in the world is still wanting more, then that kind of like tells us that there's actually no deep satisfaction and contentment in this material world, in material pursuits. What to speak of us, I mean, Bill Gates, he can afford anything he wants. And yet, if we understand this point, yet his philosophy is more, I want more. So no, that was an illusion that we were sold, that if we had a lot of money or we had money, we're going to be happy. We've all experienced that. We're experiencing that money may make us comfortable, but it doesn't buy us happiness. Then we were sold the illusion of, if we get a good education, we have a good job, then we get married and we have children, then we'll be happy, Really? Look at the divorce rates. Look at how unhappy people are in their marriages more than ever before. So this modern education has failed us in many, many ways. Has sold us the illusion of happiness. But here, Srila Prabhupada is telling us where we can find real happiness. And he says it is within the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. After Krishna ended his pastimes in this material world at the beginning of Kali Yuga, lots of sages came together at Naimisharanya and they wanted to perform 1,000-year sacrifice to counteract the effects of Kali Yuga. And one of the sages who appeared there was Sutta Goswami. Now, Sutta Goswami had just heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami when Sukadev Goswami was reciting it to Parikshit Maharaj at the banks of the Ganges. So Sutta Goswami was one of the many sages that was present there when Sukadev Goswami was reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And then he went to Naimisharanya. So him being the eldest, most sincere sage, they asked him 6 questions. And one of the questions was that after Krishna's departure, where has dharma gone? And the answer Sutta Goswami gives is Srimad Bhagavatam 1-17. Krishna swa dhammopagate dharma jana dibhi saha kalau nasta dusham esha puranarko dhunodita. Sutta Goswami answers this question by declaring, this Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana, from this Srimad Bhagavatam. Then another beautiful verse, Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriday Antasto Hi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Surit Satam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. This this shows how merciful and how loving Krishna is, because it is not even saying that Krishna will remove this propensity for material enjoyment and purify our hearts when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam. No, he's saying even if just by developing the urge to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna from within our heart will remove all these impurities, will remove all these anarthas, unwanted things in the heart. Once all the gunk is removed from the heart, all the unwanted things, all the vices are removed, what is left is happiness, is compassion, So just understand how just merciful, how loving, how sweet Krishna is. He's not even saying, no, you read the Srimad Bhagavatam first. No, no, no. Just by developing the desire, simply is in the evening, oh, let me read I want to read Srimad Bhagavatam today for half an hour, and it may not even materialize. But just by that desire, Krishna starts cleaning your heart. Just by saying, today I really want to listen to a lecture, and it may not happen. But just by that desire, oh, let me go for that class today. Krishna is already cleaning our hearts. Then another beautiful verse, Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So by regularly, nityam means always. By always endeavoring to hear, to listen, to read everything within the heart. Again, all these anarthas, vices, lust, anger, greed, illusion, bewilderment, everything that's disturbing our minds, everything just starts clearing out. And of course, what's left is just love, compassion, and all the beautiful things. The only thing Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, the only thing is required is to read or hear attentively and regularly from a bona fide spiritual master. So 3 things: focused or attentive hearing, regularly, and from a bona fide spiritual master. We're very fortunate. We don't have to worry about bona fide spiritual master. These are Srila Prabhupada's books. We know Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee. So yes, that bit we absolutely don't have to worry about. Attention and focus, that's up to us. The more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more taste we develop for it. The more we make it a regular practice. If we can put aside time every day, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour, one verse, one purport. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. If you put time aside, it just becomes easier mentally. That means regulated, discipline, a slight routine. I'll read before I go to bed, or I'll read after, I come back from work, or I'll read first thing in the morning, 10 minutes. And so much auspiciousness will come our way. Why? Because Krishna there in the heart is already just, there polishing us, scrubbing our hearts. So this is the process Srila Prabhupada explains, that this taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam will give us deeper perspective, higher perspective, and it will fulfill this need for happiness. And this is a real secret of happiness. One is Sambandha, knowing our relationship with Krishna, knowing, understanding who we are, where we have come from, what we're doing here. And then understanding our relationship with Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are his servants. We are all individuals and we all have an individual relationship with him. Right now, it may not be revealed to us, but once we perfect this life or whichever life, our eternal relationship will be revealed to us. But in the meantime, we still keep serving Krishna. We act accordingly. We take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. We take shelter of the holy name. And, and the prayojan, the result will be that we will perfect this lifetime or whichever lifetime. It could take another 20 lifetimes. So what? Might take another 200 lifetimes. So what? It's a blinking of the eye for Krishna, and that's thousands of lifetimes gone. So it doesn't matter. But we will perfect our lives and develop love for Radha and Krishna, and that's the goal. So very simple. Srila Prabhupada has just simplified everything for us. Just do this, do this, do this. And everything is so nice. Everything is so sweet when applied. And then towards in the translation and the very last sentence of the purport, it's very interesting that Srila Prabhupada actually gives us the blueprint for preaching. So here Brahma is asking Narad Muni in his life to describe the science of Godhead with determination in a manner in which human beings can develop transcendental devotional service. And the last sentence is that Srila Prabhupada says that take this matter seriously in a missionary spirit. So again, being in the fire of the Sankirtan mission. Whatever whatever in your situation, we hear, we read, and then simply we just try and repeat. And put in a little bit of determination, a little bit of enthusiasm, and just develop. Preaching is a skill, there's a bit of art in it, how to approach different people, how to approach students, how to approach professionals, how to approach families. So, take it seriously, develop, what is your aptitude? What is your aptitude? Your aptitude may be working with families. Fine, do that. Just develop that skill. Your aptitude, you might be drawn to book distribution. Fine, empower yourself, because Srila Prabhupada is already empowering us. So just take that empowerment and go with it, Your skill, might be in cooking wonderful prasads. By all means, do it. And your inclination could be building a beautiful temple. As I understand, that's what's happening in Eldoret. Wonderful. Yes, go for it. Just go for it. Make this wonderful, wonderful offering to Srila Prabhupada. So, pick up what motivates you, what inspires you, and I just encourage you to run with it. Just do it. Because it'll please Srila Prabhupada so much. And if we please Srila Prabhupada, our life is perfect. We've perfected our lives. We actually have to do nothing more than that. So, I remembered a very nice example. And again, if I may use the example of my Guru Maharaj, it was always very interesting to observe how Guru Maharaj preached to different people differently. And for me, it was very entertaining how he used to connect with my father. My father was, unfortunately, he's no more, but my father was a very humble man and a successful businessman. And whenever Guru Maharaj would come to Kenya, my father would make an effort to go and meet Guru Maharaj. And of course, I'd go in Maharaj's room with my father, and we'd offer up obeisances, and my dad would be sitting down, and Guru Maharaj would say, no, 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 please sit on a chair. And of course, my dad would, and he would sit on the floor. And Maharaj was so skillful how he would first start talking about business, and I was surprising, Maharaj knew current affairs. He knew politics, he knew economics, he knew, in the business world what was going on. And they would just have this amazing, back and forth discussing business. And then in between, it'd be like, so do you chant? Do you chant Hare Krishna? And my father would kind of like just wiggle his way out of that question. And again, they would then see again Maharaj just talking about business, and yes, yes, this. Then again, he'd look at me and he goes, you should make your father chant Hare Krishna. And that my dad would again wiggle his way out. But it was just so entertaining that, how this was so amazing, such a skill these devotees have, And on the flip side, if my dad had just entered the room and is like, oh, do you chant? My father would have never again come to see him. He would have been so like put off, So it was just like, I just used to love these moments, just watching, observing how the whole dynamics was working out. It was so nice. And of course, Srila Prabhupada, he was like the master preacher, There's a beautiful example. And so all these scientists would come and see Srila Prabhupada, and they want to argue, they want to defy the existence of God, or we're God, we're all one, all that. And no, but they just would not defeat Srila Prabhupada. And one of his disciples said, Prabhupada, all these, scientists and all these people come and see you, and nobody has ever managed to like defeat you. You're so good. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, because when they are denying the existence of God, Krishna, I see Krishna standing behind them and laughing. So how are you gonna defy somebody who's just seeing Krishna right in front of him, I'm sure this journalist went home and thought about it for a long time. So in America, this journalist came to interview Srila Prabhupada. And from the beginning, she had a little bit of an attitude. So she was wearing maybe a short skirt, a mini skirt, or a skirt reaching her knee, I don't know, something like that. And so she kind of like sarcastically asked Srila Prabhupada, why do you have shaved heads? And so Prabhupada said, why do you have bare legs? Better to have a cool head and warm legs. And wow. And she just kept quiet. And I'm sure she went home and she thought about it for a long time. The point is that I'm sure Srila Prabhupada had a huge impact on her, even through the sarcasm or just putting her in her place. So Srila Prabhupada is just the perfect example of just a master preacher. So it's just available to us. We just have to pick up and just run with it. So I'll end the class there on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is just want to mention is Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi. One of the most important, the hardest Ekadashi is supposed to be done without water, no food. The brief history behind this is, has anybody spoken about this week? Do you want me to touch on it? Okay. So Bhima, one of the Pandavas, he was a voracious eater. That's how he was described in the Bhagavad Gita. Because he was the son of Vayu or the son of Agni, I forget. but he had amazingly strong fire of digestion, like too strong. And he could never fast on Ekadashi. So one time he approached Srila Vyasadeva. He said, I see my whole family observe Ekadashi so diligently, and they fast the whole day. I cannot do it. I cannot even eat only one meal. I have this fire in me. What can I do? And then so Srila Vyasa, they've told him this Ekadashi, I forget the month in the Sanskrit name, but in this month, this Ekadashi, you follow this Ekadashi completely, don't drink any water, don't eat anything, and this is equal to having fasted all the Ekadashis. So many sinful reactions will be washed away, and you will get so purified, and like it will equate to you have fasted all the Ekadashis. So this is the significance of this Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi. Ideally, supposed to be no water, no food. We try our best is what we can do in spiritual life. If you can do it, amazing. If you cannot, it's fine. It's fine. You do your best. You do your best. But ideally, yes, Nirjal, without water, without any food. So that is the significance of today's Ekadashi. I'll stop here. If there are any questions, any comments, any corrections, please forgive if I have made any offense unknowingly. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful class and sharing a lot of examples of Guru Maharaj and then even Srila Prabhupada, and putting things in perspective. He was so good at it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. Mataji, I'm amazed at one thing that you said, and I'm sure it is, obviously it is true, but it's amazing how even if you think that you want to attend a class today, and even if you don't, but still the cleansing process would start. So how powerful is that? How powerful is that? So thank you for making that point. And then I have a question as well, Mataji. So I know you said that leave everything to Krishna. I mean, we know that not a blade of grass moves without him, and he's the cause of all causes, and he does everything that happens in your life is because he's doing it. But then don't you fall into this attitude of being carefree that I don't have to do anything because Krishna is doing everything? And then you will not endeavor.
So there's a very beautiful saying in Christianity. Pray as though everything depends on God, and act or work as though everything depends on you. So in the morning, the morning hours are very powerful when we're doing our sadhana, then we completely, that dependency on Krishna during our chanting or reading our deity worship, whatever, that absolute giving yourself to whatever you're doing, whether it's chanting or reading. And then comes time for duty. Then you have to act. But having that foundation of the morning sadhana, I feel it really carries you through the day. If you have a strong sadhana in the morning, and you know what your duty is, you go and you do your duty, but I find it easier to decide to know when it's time to let go and when it's time to act. So we are all on the level of duty. So when we say depend on Krishna, everything, not even a blade of grass moves, that doesn't mean that we become we kind of like become lethargic or we become laid back. No. We all know what our duty is. you're a doctor, surgeons, or whatever. You know, somebody is a business person, so we know somebody is a student. We have to diligently go and do that, all the while depending on Krishna. Does that make sense? It does not make doesn't mean that we give up our duty. No, we don't. We don't give up our duty. That's like, what's the word? That's a cop-out. Yeah. But within within doing your duty, within that the attitude of dependency on Krishna, that I feel is what means nothing moves without the will of Krishna. If things don't go your way on a particular day, when you are expecting this, i.e., let's, for example, a meeting to go a certain way, or like we are farmers, and all the time we're faced with, you know, the natural elements, too much heat, too much rain, and sometimes we have to uproot acres and acres of our crops that's been infested with something. But having done our best, then the result is up to Krishna, that, okay, this was meant to be. But I've done my best. We've sprayed the right thing. We've managed the water in the right way. We've managed the heat in the right way. Then now the rest is up to Krishna. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, Mataji, it does make sense. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we are almost about to exhaust our time. Are there any other questions or comments from the group? If there are no questions or comments, can I request Bhakta Mugo to end this session today? Dennis Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Ritika, what are you
I mean,
Then
yes, there's a lot of rain where I am. I don't know.
okay.
Yes, it's Baktamugo.
we can hear you. We can hear you.
You can hear me? Yeah, it's a lot of rain around in this place. Thank you very much, Mataji, for that beautiful session. It's so profound. Thank you even for clarifying how Krishna consciousness, the more we practice, the more we learn. What readings, when you clarify that, it's actually even a way of cleansing ourselves in a way. Just hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from a dear guru like you. Thank you very much. It's very transcendental.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I would like to request Hare Krishna. I'd like to request
Hare Krishna.
we do.
Let us recite the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhayeva cha Pitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Her Grace Ashwariya Lila Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.